in the heart of Pyongyang's banquet hall. A mere 4-second eye contact with the leader in front of 300 witnesses completely turned the fate of a high-ranking cadre's wife upside down. Kim Hae-jin, after being summoned to a secret villa that night, she had to endure a year of repeated hell. Her husband pushed his wife forward for promotion, and the regime packaged this as glory. But there was something even more shocking. The fake leader project she witnessed in an underground facility, body doubles being trained with perfectly replicated gait, speech patterns, and even body weight, accurate to within 1 gram. The military and state security were secretly preparing a coup, and at 2:30 a.m., the leader's order came down: handle it quietly. She crossed the Daedong River risking her life with 2 children, had to penetrate an iron surveillance network and pass through China. In February 2025, how was she able to land at Incheon Airport? Hello, I am Kim Hae-jin. September 15, 2024, 8:17 p.m. The banquet hall on the 2nd floor of Pyongyang. People's Palace of Culture. 300 pairs of eyes turned toward the stage. The leader walked in beneath the chandeliers. Applause thundered like storm. I stood at the end of the 3rd row. My husband was 5 steps away to my left. That's when it happened. The leader's gaze stopped on me. 4 seconds. Not a long time, but my entire body froze. My heart pounded in my ears. The applause around me faded away. I felt trapped alone under that gaze. The leader smiled and nodded. The banquet ended at 10 p.m. I headed toward the entrance with my husband. A man in a black suit approached. The State Security Department badge was clear. Comrade Kim Hae-jin. He called my name. You need to come with me. My husband grabbed my wrist. But there was no strength in his grip. He bowed his head. It's an honor. My husband's voice trembled. Honor? I couldn't understand the meaning of that word. The car was waiting behind the palace. A black sedan. The back door opened. I got in. I couldn't refuse. The car departed. Lights of downtown Pyongyang flowed past the window. It grew darker and darker. Where are we going? My voice shook. The driver didn't answer. The man in the passenger seat remained silent too. About 30 minutes passed. The car headed toward the outskirts. Street lights disappeared. Only darkness remained. An iron gate appeared. A guard checked the car and opened the gate. A forest path continued. A building appeared through the trees. A 2-story villa. Light leaked out. The car stopped. Get out. I got out. My legs had no strength. I was guided to the villa entrance. The door opened. A long corridor stretched ahead. Red carpet was laid down. A woman approached. She wore a white uniform. Come this way. I followed. We climbed the stairs. It was the last room on the 2nd floor. The door opened. The room was spacious. A bed stood in the center. Red curtains covered the windows. The woman handed me clothes. Change into these. What is this? It's an order. The woman's voice was cold and firm. I took the clothes. My hands trembled. The woman left. The door closed. Click. The sound of the lock. Hearing that sound, I knew that I couldn't leave here. That I couldn't refuse. I looked down at the clothes. They were silk. The clothes slipped from my hands. My knees buckled. I collapsed to the floor. I just wanted to die. Those words came from my mouth in that moment. I didn't know who I was saying it to. To God? Or to myself? But I had to survive. At home, 2 children were waiting. An 8-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son. I picked up the clothes. And I changed into them. A week passed after the first summons. I returned home at 4 a.m. My husband sat on the living room sofa. Cigarette smoke filled the room. He saw me and turned his head away. You're home. That was all. He didn't ask why I was late. He didn't ask where I'd been. He already knew. I took a shower. Hot water burned my skin. No matter how much I washed, the feeling wouldn't go away. My face in the mirror looked strange. The second summons was September 29th. At 7 p.m., I was preparing dinner. The children were watching television in the living room. The doorbell rang. My husband opened the door. It was a man in a black suit. My husband turned to look at me. Hi Jin. He called my name. There was no strength in his voice. My daughter asked, "Where's mom going?" Just, "I have something to take care of." I tried to smile, but my mouth was frozen. I got in the car. It was the same road. The same villa. I was guided to the same room. The third time was October 12th, the fourth was October 27th. My husband became quieter and quieter. But one evening, he spoke. Deputy Director Choi recommended me. Choi Sang-guk. He was the Deputy Director of the State Security Department. My husband's superior. What are you talking about? There's talk of a promotion. To director level early next year. Expectation appeared on my husband's face. I understood why I was being summoned. Why my husband was being promoted. Everything was connected. You knew about this? My husband didn't answer. He just bowed his head. It's for the family. For our children. Family? Children? I laughed. It was a miserable laugh. You're talking about family? Hai-jin, this isn't something we can refuse. To survive. Survival. That word stuck in my ears. The fifth summons was November 3rd. My husband handed me my coat at the entrance. Do well. For our family. I looked at his face. There was no guilt, no anger. Only resignation. That night, when I returned from the villa, I went into the bathroom. I looked in the mirror. My eyes were empty. I realized this was becoming routine. The summons, the obedience, the humiliation. My husband had already sold me for promotion and safety, and I couldn't protect myself. December 5th, third floor corridor of the Foreign Ministry building. I had gone to deliver my husband's documents. Coming down the stairs, someone called my name. Comrade Kim Hai-jin. I turned around. A man who appeared to be in his mid-30s. Gray suit with glasses. The Foreign Ministry badge was on his chest. Do you know me? I'm Park Min-jun, Section Chief of the European Department at the Foreign Ministry. He looked around. The corridor was empty. Can we talk for a moment? What is this about? Not here. Let's go outside. I hesitated, but I sensed something desperate in his eyes. We went to a small park behind the building. December's cold wind brushed my face. We sat on a wooden bench. Park Min-jun opened his mouth. Do you know my younger sister? No. Park Min-kyung. She died in 2022. His voice trembled. How? In the same way as you, Comrade Kim Hai-jin. My breath stopped. She received summons from the leader. She was 26. She was called for 3 months. Then one day she was found as a corpse in the Daedong River. Park Min-jun clenched his fists. Veins bulged on the back of his hands. The State Security Department said it was suicide. But my sister would never do that. I couldn't say anything. You're in exactly the same situation. I investigated. By what authority? I have no authority. But after losing my sister, I made a decision. That I couldn't let this happen again. Park Min-jun looked straight into my eyes. You can escape. In that moment my heart beat twice as fast. What are you saying? I'm in the Foreign Ministry. I know the China route. I can create a path. Are you crazy? Do you think that's possible? It's possible, but there's no time. Park Min-jun handed me a small piece of paper. A phone number was written on it. Contact me at this number. Anytime. I'll be on standby 24 hours. Why are you helping me? Because I couldn't save my sister. Guilt permeated his voice. And because I don't want to see someone like you die too. I took the paper. My hands trembled. Think about it, but I hope it doesn't take too long. Park Min-jun stood up and walked away. I remained alone on the bench. I looked down at the paper in my hand. Small numbers appeared faintly. Escape. That word circled in my head. Was it possible? With the children? What about my husband? The family? But at the same time, another thought came. If I stayed here, I would end up like Park Min-kyung too. January 8, 2025, it was the 8th summons. But this time was different. The car passed the villa. I asked the man in the front seat. Where are we going? The orders have changed. We drove for another 30 minutes. It was a mountain road. Steep curves continued, then a tunnel appeared. It was a long tunnel. There was almost no lighting. About 2 minutes passed. Light appeared. At the end of the tunnel was a massive iron gate. 5 guards stood there. They held automatic rifles. They checked the car and the gate opened. Inside was an underground facility. Concrete walls, white fluorescent lights, long corridors stretched out. The air was cold and dry. I got out of the car. A state security officer guided me. Come this way. We walked along the corridor. Rooms lined both sides. Number plates were attached. Room 101, 102, 103. We took an elevator. He pressed the button for basement level 3. When the door opened, I held my breath. A large room with glass walls came into view. A man stood inside. He wore a military uniform. His back was turned. The officer said, "Go inside." I pushed open the glass door and entered. The man turned around. I suppressed a scream. It was the leader. The exact same face. But something was different. "Are you surprised?" He smiled. It was the leader's voice. The intonation, the tone, exactly the same. "You are." "I am number 3. Number 3? I couldn't understand. A man entered from outside the glass wall. He wore a white coat. He looked like a scientist. "Comrade Kim Hae-jin, let me show you the project." He took out a tablet. He showed me the screen. There were several photos, all of the leader's face. But the names were different. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. "What is this?" "It's the replacement project." The scientist's voice was matter of fact. "These are individuals who can replace the original. Gait, speech patterns, handwriting, even body weight. The margin of error is less than 1 gram. I looked at number 3. He walked exactly the way the leader walked. Even the habit of slightly dragging his left foot. "Perfect," the scientist said proudly. "We trained him for 2 years. Now no one can tell the difference." Number 3 approached me. "Comrade Kim Hae-jin." He called my name in the leader's voice. My spine went cold. "I am not the real one," he whispered. "But I act more real than the real one." "Why would you do this?" "Because power must be eternal." The scientist interjected. "Even if the leader disappears someday, the system must continue. That's the purpose of this project." I looked beyond the glass wall. Another room was visible. There was also a man inside. The same face again. It must have been number 4. "This is insane." "Insane?" Number 3 laughed. "No. This is survival. The survival of the system." In that moment, number 3 asked a strange question. "Comrade Kim Hae-jin, who is more human, the real one or the fake one?" I couldn't answer. Number 3 looked out the window. "I wasn't chosen. I was just created. But I think too. I dream too." His eyes wavered. "The real one doesn't do that. He just gives orders." I realized in that moment that the fake was more human. And how rotten this system was. January 15, 10 p.m., my husband came home drunk. He stumbled through the front door. His face was flushed red. He collapsed onto the sofa. "Hae-jin, what's wrong?" Deputy Director Choi said something strange. I sat next to my husband. "What did he say?" My husband was silent for a long time. Then he spoke in a small voice. "That we need to change the system." My heart sank. "What does that mean?" "I don't know. But tonight there were many military people at the meeting. The operations commander, the security forces commander. They were all gathered around Deputy Director Choi. My husband grabbed my hand. His palm was soaked with sweat. "Something big is about to happen. I'm scared." I looked at my husband's face. Fear showed for the first time. January 22, I went to the market. Pretending to shop, I headed to a public phone booth. I took out the paper from my pocket. I dialed Park Min-jun's number. The signal rang twice. "Hello." It was Park Min-jun's voice. "This is Kim Hae-jin. I've been waiting. Can we meet? Daedong River Amusement Park, 3 p.m. In front of the Ferris wheel." I hung up. My heart pounded. At 3 p.m., Park Min-jun stood in front of the Ferris wheel. We walked along the riverside. January's cold wind hit our faces. "What happened?" "I heard about a coup." Park Min-jun's expression hardened. "Where?" "From my husband. Deputy Director Choi is making moves." "I know." Park Min-jun looked around. There was no one. Part of the military and state security are joining forces. The goal is, he lowered his voice, to replace the leader. "Replace him? Remember the project I showed you? The replacement individuals." I swallowed. Number 3's face came to mind. "Are they trying to make the fake into the real one?" "Exactly. They want to install number 3. To establish a controllable leader. Park Min-jun stopped. The problem is timing. It's scheduled for mid-February. Then the real leader will be eliminated. Eliminated. That word sank heavily. But if your husband knows, the leader will soon know too. Then, the purge will begin. Everyone involved. I thought of my husband. He was in Choi Sang-guk's line. He attended the meetings. My husband too? He'll be on the list. My legs lost strength. Park Min-jun grabbed my arm. That's why you need to leave now. It'll be too late otherwise. February 3rd, 2:30 a.m., the phone rang. My husband bolted upright. He picked up the receiver. Yes, Deputy Director Choi. My husband's face turned white. Right now immediately? His hands were shaking. Understood. I'll be out in 10 minutes. He hung up. My husband remained frozen. What's happening? Emergency assembly. All state security executives. My husband began getting dressed. He hurried. An assembly at dawn? I don't know. But the atmosphere isn't good. My husband left. The sound of the front door closing echoed. I couldn't sleep. I sat on the living room sofa. At 7 a.m., my husband returned. His face was ashen. He walked in limping. Honey? My husband collapsed onto the sofa. He covered his face with his hands. It's over. We're all finished. What are you talking about? The leader knew. My heart seemed to stop. About the coup plan. He knew everything. My husband raised his head. His eyes were bloodshot. At 2:30 a.m., an emergency report went to the leader. I don't know who informed. But meeting records, attendance lists, call logs. Everything was handed over. So, a list was created. 117 people. 117 people. That number sank heavily. Deputy Director Choi was already arrested. At 3 a.m., 40 military personnel were also taken. My husband grabbed my hand. I'm on the list too. Number 67. I couldn't breathe. When? I don't know. Within days. Within a week. But soon. My husband was trembling. The leader said it directly. Handle this quietly. Handle quietly. I knew what those words meant. At 10 a.m., I called Park Min-jun from a public phone. The purge has started. I know. There's been movement since dawn. My husband is on the list too. I expected that. Kim Hae-jin, you need to move right now. When? Tonight. It was too soon. I wasn't prepared. Tonight? Tomorrow will be too late. State security will intensify surveillance. Everyone will be arrested within 24 hours. Park Min-jun's voice was firm. Tonight at 8 p.m. Come to the back of the Daedong River dock. With the children. What about my husband? Silence flowed. Can you bring him? That man sold me out. I know. But right now that doesn't matter either. You have to survive. I couldn't answer. Come by 8. If you don't, there won't be another chance. The call ended. 8:02 p.m. We arrived at the back of the Daedong River dock. The darkness was thick. The smell of river water stung my nose. Cold wind blew. There's no one here, my husband said in an anxious voice. Just wait a little. My daughter gripped my hand tightly. My son was on my husband's back. At 8:07, a shadow appeared. It was Park Min-jun. He wasn't alone. 2 men were with him. You came. Sorry we're late. There's no time. Let's leave right away. Park Min-jun pointed to the riverbank. A small boat was tied there. We cross the river in that boat. A car is waiting on the other side. Cross the river? My husband asked in surprise. The bridges have checkpoints. This is the only way. One of the men with him got into the boat. He prepared the oars. Get in. I got into the boat holding my daughter's hand. The boat rocked. My daughter screamed. It's okay. Mom's here. My husband got in holding my son. Park Min-jun also got in. The boat departed. Only the sound of rowing could be heard. Splash, splash. The river water pushed the boat. Mom, I'm scared. My daughter burrowed into my arms. Close your eyes. It'll be over soon. The river was wide. 5 minutes passed. 10 minutes passed. Suddenly a light appeared. What's that? My husband shouted. It was a patrol boat. A state security boat patrolling the river. Get down. Park Min-jun shouted. We lay flat on the bottom of the boat. My daughter started crying. Shush, you have to be quiet. I covered my daughter's mouth with my hand. My chest beat wildly. The patrol boat's light swept across our boat. It passed. It came back. It stopped. A loudspeaker sound was heard. Boat there. Stop. I thought it was over. But the man rowing didn't stop. Instead he rowed faster. If you don't stop, we'll fire. A gunshot rang out. Bang. A bullet hit the water. My son burst into tears. Faster. Park Min-jun shouted. The rowing speed increased. The boat shook violently. Another gunshot rang out. Bang. Bang. One grazed the side of the boat. We're almost there, Park Min-jun shouted. The opposite riverbank came into view. 20 meters, 10 meters. The boat hit a sandbar. Get out, quickly. We jumped from the boat. Water came up to our ankles. It was cold. Run. Park Min-jun led the way. We ran along the riverbank. February 17, 2025, 3 p.m. We exited the arrivals hall at Incheon Airport. 2 National Intelligence Service officers were waiting. They wore black suits. Are you Ms. Kim Hae-jin? Yes. We'll take you to a safe house. We got in the car. We headed to Seoul. Tall buildings were visible outside the window. My daughter's eyes widened. Mom, the buildings here are really tall. They are. I was also amazed. This place was a completely different world. The safe house was on the outskirts of Seoul. A 3-story building. Security guards watched 24 hours. For a week I underwent investigation. National Intelligence Service, Ministry of Unification, Police. The questions continued endlessly. Where was the location of the secret villa? How many times were you summoned? Please tell us in detail about the project you saw in the underground facility. I told them everything. From the first summons, the repeated violence, the fake leader project, the coup plot, to the purge order. The officer in charge nodded. This is important testimony. It needs to be made known to the international community. Is it okay to make it public? Are you afraid? Yes. But, I paused. Then I said, I think it's something that must be done. March 5th, the first press conference was held. 19th floor of the Seoul Press Center. About 50 journalists had gathered. Cameras pointed at me. I stepped up to the podium. I stood in front of the microphone. My heart beat rapidly. My hands trembled. But I opened my mouth. Hello, I am Kim Hae-jin. My voice shook. But I continued. From September 2024 to February 2025, I was a victim of systematic sexual violence in Pyongyang. Flashes burst. The moment I was caught in the leader's gaze, my life collapsed. I was dragged to a secret villa. I couldn't refuse. There were 9 summons. I put down the prepared paper. I decided to speak from memory. My husband didn't protect me. Rather, he remained silent for promotion. He said it was a sacrifice for the family. Tears welled up. I held them back. I witnessed the fake leader project in an underground facility. Perfectly replicated individuals were being trained. The system was designed to last forever. One journalist raised a hand. Questions will be taken later. The officer in charge stopped them. The coup plot was discovered, and a purge order was issued. At 2:30 a.m., there was an instruction to handle this quietly. My voice became firm. I ran away. I crossed the Daedong River with my children. Bullets flew, but we survived. I gripped the microphone tightly. There's one reason I'm standing here. Because there are still countless Kim Hae-jins there. Flashes poured out. Women who are silenced, trampled, and erased. I want to be their voice. The press conference ended. The next day, the news spread around the world. CNN, BBC, New York Times. My story was reported. A statement came from the UN Human Rights Council. The international community began to move. In May, I started working with human rights organizations. It was work helping North Korean defector women. I counseled them and collected testimonies. One day, a woman came to see me. She was in her early 30s. Ms. Kim. I was also dragged to the villa. I hugged her. It's okay now. It's safe here, she cried. I cried with her. My name is Kim Hae-jin. And I am a survivor.